The fog covered the streets like a heavy blanket, muting every sound and swallowing the city in a ghostly silence. It was cold and still when the call came to the police at exactly 12 a.m., jarring the quiet with urgency. A woman jogging near Milltown Bridge had seen something unnatural lying in the wet grass. What she found was a body. The girl was lying face down, her hair damp and tangled, one hand stretched out like she was crawling for help. The other hand was broken, bent backward in a grotesque position that made the scene feel all the more haunting. Detective Laila Murtaza arrived shortly after, stepping under the yellow crime scene tape with a steady but tense stride. As she approached the body, something deep in her gut told her this wasn't just a random act of violence. "This isn't just a normal murder," she said quietly, her breath visible in the cold. "This is a message." The victim appeared young, about 24, with long black hair and a casual outfit of a jacket and jeans. Her face looked oddly peaceful, almost like she was merely asleep, but her dirt-filled nails told another story. She had clearly tried to escape, tried to claw her way to freedom before something terrible happened. Officer Rizwan, her partner, joined her on the scene, holding up a plastic evidence bag containing a folded note. "There's no ID," he informed her, "no phone, no bag, just this," and handed her the note. Inside was a single word scrawled in sharp, trembling handwriting: "Run." Layla crouched, scanning the grass and the area around the body, and noticed something that unsettled her even more. "There's no blood here," she murmured, standing up. "She didn't die at this spot, she was moved." They looked up at the bridge, noting that there were no broken rails or signs of struggle, no drag marks either. "Someone brought her here on purpose," Layla concluded, and Rizwan's quiet nod confirmed he agreed. They later identified the girl as Elaine Hart, a 24-year-old architecture student with no criminal record or known enemies. Her grieving family arrived at the police station in tears, her mother sobbing, her father silent, and her little brother confused. "She never stayed out late," her mother repeated through her cries. "She was careful, she always called me." Layla watched the broken family through the glass of the observation room, the air around them thick with grief. Elaine seemed like a normal, responsible young woman, no drugs, no parties, no shady history. But the deeper they dug, the more unsettling the picture became, starting with the last message Elaine sent from her phone. Just 2 minutes before her estimated time of death, she had sent the same word that was on the note: "Run." This wasn't random, something terrifying had been happening in Elaine's life, and she had been hiding it. They searched her room and found a second phone, hidden under her mattress, locked behind a passcode. Once they cracked it open, they found disturbing content: photos, videos, and messages from a secret part of her life. The content revealed she was involved with a group of masked people who gathered in old buildings for strange events. They called themselves the Wake, and their messages were strict: no phones, no names, and meetings. Only at midnight, a video on the phone showed Elaine tied to a chair, screaming, before the screen went black in silence. Another video depicted a different girl in the same position, going through the same horror. In total, 3 girls were featured in these clips, all meeting the same eerie and tragic end. Elaine's secret life was darker and more dangerous than anyone had imagined, and now it had cost her everything. That night, when Layla returned home, she turned on her bathroom light and saw words written in the fog on her mirror. It read, "Stop digging, you're next," and the chill that ran down her spine was colder than the night air. Someone had been inside her home while she was gone, yet all the doors and windows were still locked. She called Rizwan immediately, her voice shaking. "They're watching me." Using the second phone's location data, they traced Elaine's last known location to a long-abandoned mental hospital. It was called the Linden Facility and had been shut down since 1997, with ownership records pointing to a fake company. "We go there tonight," Layla said firmly, determined to end the trail of secrets once and for all. The building was decaying, filled with rusted doors, peeling paint, and the eerie coldness of forgotten things. They moved carefully through its darkness, flashlights trembling in their hands, until they reached room 217. The stench hit them first, followed by the horrific sight of old, dried blood on the floor and walls. But worse were the cameras, microphones, and a control room with rows of screens and labeled tapes. One by one, they played the videos and saw Elaine, tied and terrified, with unknown voices interrogating her. Each tape showed a different girl in the same nightmare, confirming the horrifying pattern. Layla slammed her hand on the table, whispering they hurt them for fun, for control. Then, as if triggered, one of the monitors flickered to life, showing a live feed of Layla's own apartment. They rushed back to her flat, finding it wide open with every light on, the walls covered in photographs. Photos of her sleeping, walking, working, even from the crime scene itself had been taken without her knowing. One chilling photo lay on her bed, showing her asleep from an angle directly above her head. Rizwan searched the entire place but found no surveillance bugs, no cameras, just evidence of someone constantly watching her. Soon after, a package arrived at the police station containing another USB filled with new videos of more victims. This wasn't just a threat. It was a warning they were always one step ahead. Layla, now paranoid and shaken, began to watch every tape over again, obsessively searching for a clue. And she found it, a familiar face in the background of one of the videos, smiling faintly at a masked party. Rizwan. She didn't confront him immediately, instead calling him to the rooftop under the pretense of a private update. You were there, she said softly, watching him carefully, and his silence was its own confession. I didn't kill anyone, he whispered eventually. I didn't hurt her, but I was told we were helping. He claimed Elaine wasn't real, that she needed to be woken up, and the wake convinced them it was a cure. Layla couldn't believe what she was hearing. He had been part of this horror and never told her. Eventually, they tracked down the man behind everything, Dr. Navid Selar, a psychiatrist missing for over 2 decades. He was living under a fake name in a luxury apartment and didn't even try to run when Layla knocked on his door. He welcomed her like an old friend and rambled on about fear, control, and the way people begged to be awakened. They begged for death, he said coldly, but we wanted them alive, really alive. She secretly recorded his confession until he tried to attack her, but she fought back, cuffed him, and called for backup. The arrest was public, and soon the entire nation was watching as the case hit the courts and headlines alike. Outrage exploded as people saw the evidence, but then things began to unravel. Evidence disappeared. Witnesses vanished. The judge received threats, and then Rizwan was found dead, hanging from a tree with a note in his hand. They know where you live. Layla felt the walls closing in, so she uploaded the last USB online for the world to see what the system tried to bury. The video went viral, gathering millions of views and sparking national protests demanding justice and change. Dr. Selar was arrested once more, but this time there would be no escape. The wake was gone, the building destroyed. Yet even after it all, Layla couldn't sleep, haunted by the faces, the tapes, and the fear that never truly left. Sometimes, in the dead of night, she hears whispers carried by the fog outside her window, and sometimes her bathroom mirror fogs up. Even when there's no steam, she stares into it, not moving, waiting, for she knows the dead don't whisper, they scream.